Good evening, everybody. I'm Geeta, Sergeant at Arms for today's meeting. I welcome you all to the meeting number 771 of Chennai Toastmasters Club. Today, our theme revolves around the word ego. This reminds me of a quote which I would love to share with you all. Ego is just a small 3-letter word which can destroy a big 12-letter word called relationship. As we decide what we need to value the most, ego or the relationships, let me begin the meeting by enlightening you all with the mission of the Toastmasters Club. The mission of every Toastmasters Club is to provide a positive and a supportive learning environment whereby the members are given enough opportunities to improve their communication skills and leadership qualities, thereby resulting in greater personality growth and self-confidence. Here are a few ground rules for the meeting. Please keep your mobile phones on the silent mode. Do not talk about the taboo topics such as sex, politics, and religion. Please sit in a silent atmosphere so that you can hear what the speaker is speaking. Kindly be on mute until it is your turn to speak. Only then kindly unmute yourself. Also, if you have any messages that need to be shared, kindly use the chat box below. With this, it's now time for me to hand over the control to the presiding officer, Toastmaster Ranju. Before that, I would like to share you all a few words about him. He is a very dynamic person who is all set to take the legacy of our club forward, and he is also working with the Asian Paints. With these words, I invite you, Toastmaster Ranju, to take over the proceedings. Over to you, Toastmaster Ranju.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Geeta, for the introduction and welcoming all the members and guests to this meeting. I would once again like to welcome all the Toastmasters and guests who had joined us today in the Chennai Toastmasters meeting number 771. It's a wonderful evening and we hope to have a great meeting today with such a great line of speakers and great evaluators. And we even have evaluators from outside. Toastmaster Satya would like to mention you at the beginning of the speech as well. Like this week has passed on and it was a special start for this month. If you all know, it was the April 1st, which is called the April Fool's Day. Would anybody like to tell me what this particular day stands for and how it came about?
It came from Romanian calendar, so Gregorian calendar. They added 2 more months, and yes. Gregorian, those who are celebrating the following Romanian calendar, they were called as fools because of some gap in communication. France and some other European countries, they kept on celebrating April as 1st. They were called fools.
Exactly. Thank you, sir. So people thought April 1st is the beginning of the year when it was moved to Gregorian calendar of January 1st. And that's how it all began. But there has been a great history and greatest April Fool events in the history. You could check it on Google. There has been a situation in which one of the Mississippi hotels was told as a volcano which was about to erupt. So this was captured in one of the leading newspaper, and that led to a lot of issues. So I would recommend that even though the April Fool's Day has passed, let's make this a tradition to keep this as harmless jokes or fooling people. Let it be harmless and as a way of fun rather than a serious. That's the one thing which I would like to say. And with this, I would now like to hand over the controls to the Toastmaster of the day, a very energetic and dynamic person in our Chennai Toastmasters. He's a mentor to many of our senior Toastmasters in our club. It is none other than Toastmaster Srikanth Kuttikrishnan. He's currently working with the Indian Railways. And he has taken some of the very beautiful and memorable meetings in the past, which includes him like coming as a Santa Claus also. So I would love to see what is in store for us today. And with this, I would like to hand over the controls to Toastmaster Srikanth Kutikrishnan. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ranju. Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining CTM this afternoon on our 771st meeting. There are many ways that we can start a meeting, and I would like to start this meeting by saying and wishing you all a very happy Easter. When we talk about Easter, I remember I have been reading a lot about the Christian Bible and especially the New Testament. And from school days where I studied in Madras Christian College, we used to have the Scripture Union, where we have to read the Bible from the New Testament, and there would be classes conducted by the headmaster. Having said that, I really would like to attribute a quote from St. John in the New Testament. This is attributed to Lord Jesus Christ, in which it is said that all that I have done, all the great works that I have done, can also be done by the least among you. Let me repeat. The least among you can do all the great works that I have done and even more, which literally means Christ is telling each and every one of us that in us resides the kingdom of heaven, and all of us are capable of doing great things, miraculous things, and each one of us are a miracle worker. And this truth, which is being there, lying dormant in each and every one of us, not realizing that this can be manifested in our day-to-day life. I also read a book about the Tibetans, which says about the art of living and dying. It's written by a Tibetan author, in which he goes on to say that in each and every one of us, there are two persons who is living within us. One is the ego, which is demanding, which is easily offended, which believes in its separateness and wants to dominate others. And the other is the beautiful higher self, which is lying hidden with us. The beautiful voice of this higher self is hardly heard and acted upon. And this brings us to the theme of the day of how we can let go this ego, the three-letter word ego, and how we can start to manifest all that we want in our life, as Christ has reminded us in St. John from the New Testament. Each and every one of you can do even greater things that I have done. He goes on to say, even the least amongst us. So, how we are going to go about doing this in this few minutes or few hours is a very big topic, but I would like to share from my personal experience. And I also like to remind you, many of my friends call me a camel. You know what a camel is. It's an animal which begins its day on its knees and ends the day on its knees and can go without water for 24 hours. So let me share with you during the transition period of today's meeting, how we can get rid of this evil that is lying dominant in each and every one of us. Now, getting back to the meeting, today's meeting is, as usual, CTM's flamboyant and very interesting meeting. I thank all the guests who have joined us this afternoon. Today's meeting is basically into three different categories, which would be the first, prepared speech. As it is said, the speakers who come here would prepare their speech based on certain objectives that needs to be incorporated in their speech. And the second is the fun part. You can have your heart in your mouth, most of you, when you hear about this. It's a table topic session where we have a Toastmaster who would be known as the topic master, who can call any one of you at random and give you a topic to speak about. And the third is just waiting for the election results to be announced. The hard work, the good work, the interesting things, and all that each one of you can do has been done, and we wait how each of this is being evaluated. That's the evaluation session, which is exclusively handled by a general evaluator, where he would have so many Toastmasters to support him. And let me introduce you to the general evaluator today is Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana. Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana is a person who is known for his amazing skills of innovation and making every meeting interesting. Like literally, we can say he's behind the scene person who makes things move in front of each and every one of us. Let me welcome, please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana, who is going to be our general evaluator this afternoon. Over to you, Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Srikant Kuti Krishna. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, all the Toastmaster and guests. This is Lakshmi Narayana, the general evaluator for today's meeting. The quality of any club depends on the quality of each meeting that has to be maintained each week. We do it, and to monitor those quality of the meeting, myself as a general evaluator will be observing the quality of each speakers and each time limits and the transition between the time transition between each speeches. To do so, I have two sets of team. The first team is tag team, which is timer, accounter, and the grammarian. And the second set of team, which I will be introducing later after the table topic session, that is a set of evaluators who will be evaluating the prepared speeches of today's meeting. So let me introduce the first set of teams, the tag team. As my first part of the tag team would be the person who is going to watch and monitor the times spent for each speeches and alert you for any misuse of the time. So the first, let me introduce the timer. Today's timer is a very senior Toastmaster. He is working in Airports Authority of India. He is a member of Toastmasters International for more than 7 years, who has trained more than 1,000 plus college students as part of youth leadership program, a triple crown achiever, and most importantly, is mentoring more than 50 individuals, and I am one among them, and very proud to say that I'm his mentee. Let me welcome Toastmaster Venu Nilagan as a timer, and Venu, please explain your role as a timer. Over to you.
Good evening, General Evaluator, and good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Today, I'm playing the role of timer. As a timer, I will track the time of all the speakers as well as the role players. I will show the green card when you reach the minimum time limit, and I will show the amber card when you reach the intermediate time limit. I will reach the red card when you reach the maximum time limit. I will give you 30 seconds as a grace time. For example, if for the prepared speeches 5 to 7 minutes, I will show the green card at the end of 5 minutes, and I will show the amber card at the end of 6 minutes. I will show the red card at the end of 7 minutes, and you need to wrap your speech within 7 minutes 30 seconds. That's your grace time. So I will submit my report at the end of the meeting when I will be called upon by the general evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Venu. The next part of the tag team is the accounter. Today's accounter is a very young and very active Toastmaster who is working as a senior software engineer in iTech Universal, and is very enthusiastic about natural farming, mobile and web application development, and the IoT, the Internet of Things. Let me welcome Toastmaster Satyaraj Ramamurthy. Toastmaster Satyaraj, please explain your role as an accountant. Over to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Very good evening, Toastmaster and guests. The purpose of our counter is to note the words, sounds that are used as a crutch or pass pillar by anyone who speaks. During this meeting, I will be listen for overused words including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sounds including ha, hum, and er. I will also note when a speaker repeat a word or pairs such as I, or this means, and this means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Satyaraj. The last part of the tag team is the grammarian. Today's grammarian is a very young and energetic college student who loves nature and goes on early morning cycle, right? He basically loves the morning workouts. He's also working hard to get admission in one of the top B schools as soon as he completes his college. It's our Toastmaster Tarun. Toastmaster Tarun, please explain your role as a grammarian.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As grammarian, it's my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I will take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it's also my responsibility to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word of the day is pleonasm, which means the use of more words than are necessary to express an idea. An example of usage of the word is, instead of getting straight to the idea, she used pleonasm because she thought more words made it better. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting, and also report on the usage of the word. Thank you. Now over to General Evaluator, Toastmaster Lakshmi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tarun. I want to mention that Toastmaster Tarun is doing this role for the first time, and I want to give a big applause for him for taking up this role. So I'll hand over the control to Toastmaster D, and I'll get back to you again once the evaluation session starts. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day, Srikant. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana. And as I have reminded you that the first session of this afternoon meeting is going to be the prepared speech, but you'll have to wait for a couple of minutes before we have our prepared speakers to come. We have 3 brilliant speakers lined up for you. So I'm really having my fingers crossed to hear all of them speak. Absolutely brilliant speakers, I can guarantee you that. And before we go into the prepared speech, we have a couple of quotes to be read or explained by our quote master. And this afternoon, our quote master is Toastmaster Rohit. Can I request Toastmaster Rohit to please tell us a couple of quotes or whatever you have to say about the quotes? Over to you, Toastmaster Rohit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Uday, Toastmaster Srikant Krishnan, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The quote for today is, dissolve your ego before it dissolves yourself. Let me tell you a story which explains this quote very well. Long time ago, there was a sculptor who used to build statues which were almost lifelike, as if they will speak up any moment. And he was very famous for it, and he used to take great pride in his work. Then one day, he had a premonition that he is going to die. And he created a plan to ward off the devil. For that, he built 10 statues exactly like himself. And on the D-Day, he went ahead and stood with the statues. The devil came and was confused, as he couldn't make out the sculptor with the statues. So the devil devised a plan. He said, wow, the statues are fabulous, but there's a flaw in it. The sculptor couldn't take a flaw in his work, so he immediately blurted, what's the flaw? The devil smiled. The flaw is that these statues can't speak. And with that, he took his soul and went away. So friends, Dissolve your ego before it dissolves yourself. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rohit. Very interesting. I'm hearing it for the very first time. And next we have idiom master. Today's idiom master is Toastmaster Abhilash. Can I request Toastmaster Abhilash, a very prominent face in CTM and all the clubs in and around Chennai, and he's also our ex-com member. I request Toastmaster Abhilash to please tell us a couple of idioms. Over to you, Abhilash.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, for those warm words of introduction. So I've learned a very good lesson right now. But before that, I would actually like to thank the Quote-master for today for stealing my thunder. So how many of you would believe it if I told you that that was almost exactly the same story which I had planned to tell for my idiom? A remarkable coincidence at the very best, probably. But probably take your phone, go to Google and search ego stories. Probably that'll be the first story you get. So that is another lesson learned. Don't trust Google. So I started out with a quest today for trying to find a single idiom to fit in the word of the day and the theme. I wasn't successful. But let me try to put it to you in a single sentence at least. So this was the sentence I came up with. Time and again, if you allow others to stroke your ego, it will lead to your downfall. Now you can relate this with the story that our Quote-master shared with you. So I've used two idioms, time and again. Time and again, which means to do something repeatedly. And to stroke one's ego is to butter up a person, and in case you want any favors done from them, buttering them up as a shortcut to get what you want. So inadvertently, I also used the third idiom for today, stealing my thunder, which the Quote-master did. And with that, I give you three idioms for today: stealing my thunder, time and again, and stroke one's ego. With this, let me go back to our Toastmaster of the day. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Abhilash. So now let's go to the first major part of today's meeting. And our first speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Nina John. She's been with Toastmasters close to 3 decades, a founding member of CTM, Chennai Toastmasters Club, mentor to innumerable mentees. She's been a governor. She's held all the top posts at the district and also at the national level, if I'm right. And her speech today is being evaluated by Toastmaster Satya Jayaraman. So I request Toastmaster Satya Jayaraman to please tell us what DTM Nina John's speech objectives are. Over to you, Toastmaster Satya Jayaraman.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. One and all, very good evening. Today, the speaker is attempting Pathways Project mentoring, and the purpose of this project is for the member to apply her mentoring skills to a short-term mentoring assignment, and a member to share some aspects of her first experience as Toastmasters mentor. The timer to note, it is 5 to 7 minutes, green at 5, amber at 6, and red at 7. Good luck to the speaker, and back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jayaraman. Distinguished Toastmaster Nina John, of Mentors and Protege. Of Mentors and Protege, Distinguished Toastmaster Nina John.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. We find that happening so often in Toastmasters. Somebody has read about Toastmasters, heard about Toastmasters, thought about Toastmasters, but hasn't really entered a Toastmasters club until the time is right for him or her. And that's where the journey starts, when you actually attend a meeting for the first time. And this, as time goes on, one realizes is a journey. It is not a destination to just come to Toastmasters and acquire a DTM or a couple of them. It really depends on you and what you plan to do. So it's always interesting to see what are the different paths different proteges have? And what are the different methods that different mentors have? Is there a single one size fits all formula for mentoring? Absolutely not. Each protege is different, each mentor is different, and each situation is different. The same mentee may come to you at one time and be of one particular mindset, and then no longer be in Toastmasters for a certain time, and then come back. I can give you the example of our own Toastmaster Rekha, who was with CTM for almost 6 to 8 years at what I often refer to as the Ruby Hall CTM. Not that it's not any different, but people understand what I mean by that. The older CTM when we started. So when she came, I used to mentor her and go through her scripts and kind of review them in terms of vocabulary or ideas or suggestions or stuff like that. And it was a pretty uneventful journey. And then there was this time when the XCOM elections came. So I was talking to her and she said, my writing skills are so bad. I cannot be a secretary. And as a mentor, I said, no, if your writing skills need improvement, being a secretary is the best possible thing that you can do. And she listened to my suggestion. She became the secretary of Chennai Toastmasters Club. And from there, she went on to become the president. Today, she is what we call a solopreneur. She runs her own training academy for project management, catering to students around the world, a job that requires all the communication skills put together: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. For her success, she credits Toastmasters. She says at that time, there was another lady called Shaila Mohan and myself. She says, maybe I had a dormant, innate talent towards becoming a trainer, but you were the role models for me. She was at that time a manager with HP. She changed her career path, became another one of the day, another entrepreneur, and carried on from there. So, as I was saying, when the time is ready, the student appears. And so after some time, when the time is right, the student disappears. So that's what happened to her. As we say, sometimes we're so busy with Toastmasters, we don't realize life comes in the way. So she left Toastmasters for some time on her own personal journey, evolved in many ways. And after a long time, she said, okay, I'm going to get back to Toastmasters. Coincidentally, she came back on the day when we were having elections here at Toastmasters. And she said, nobody was raising their hands to be the secretary. So she sent a WhatsApp message to me. Shall I try and stand for secretary? So before she could even finish writing that message, I had proposed her name again as secretary of CTM. So here she was back in CTM as a secretary, and she proved to be a wonderful secretary, setting the benchmark for minutes of the day. And today, everyone in CTM recognizes what a good role she had over there. But it's not just as a script. I mean, now when she sends me scripts, I don't just review the grammar and the vocabulary. It's more a question of reviewing the concept and the ideas and seeing what better we can do with that particular thing. And I think I inspired her, or rather challenged her, to join in for the contests. First time she's done that. And she suddenly found herself winning. Now she's across the area and she's like, oh, I can be a good contestant too. So she's discovering things within herself that she feels she did not know earlier. And that's what mentoring is all about. Not just saying, no, I am the mentor, you will do what I am saying and you will do it the way I told you. Mentors have to let go of their egos. and let them dissolve, because the mentee is the most important person. And that's really what we all have to think about when we're talking about mentoring. There is no such a thing as one mentor who is right for everybody all the time. Neither is there one situation where a mentor will provide you foolproof answers. Every journey is your own. The mentor is a guide, someone you can ask questions to. And based on that, you can take your own decisions and your own paths. In Toastmasters, you can decide to be on the communications path, the leadership path, or any one of the 11 pathways of Toastmasters. But it is a journey that the mentee or the protege undertakes with some guidance from the mentor. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Nina John. Very inspiring speech. No wonder you have a lot of mentees with you. Thank you for that wonderful speech. And our second speaker is Toastmaster Aishwarya. Toastmaster Aishwarya is a fashion designer. Apart from that, she is very passionate to be a master of ceremonies. She likes to host events and a very promising Toastmaster from CTM. Known to most of the clubs during the contest period, where she had been taking up various roles and supporting other clubs in their initial journey of how to go about conducting a Toastmasters meeting. And Toastmaster Aishwarya's speech today is being evaluated by Toastmaster Ratika. I request Toastmaster Ratika to please read out the objectives of her speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Ratika.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Good evening, everyone. Toastmaster Aishwarya is presenting her Level 2, Project 3, Introduction to Toastmaster Mentoring from Presentation Mastery Pathways. The purpose of this project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmaster envisions mentoring, and also to share some aspect of a previous experience as a protege. All the best, Toastmaster Aishwarya. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day. Also, timer, please note that the time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ratika. Toastmaster Aishwarya, sculptors in my life. Sculptors in my life, Toastmaster Aishwarya. All the best.
Give a man a fish and feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you feed him for his lifetime. And that is exactly what a mentor is doing for us. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests. Today, I'm here to deliver a speech. It's more of a Thanksgiving one, because I'd like to thank all of my mentors who have and who are sculpting my life. Let me go back to the memory lane, where no one, literally no one, encouraged or motivated me to do public speaking. When I was 8 years old, I would often attend the summer crash courses. And in one of such courses which I attended, a trainer, she gave me the narrator role of the famous cartoon series at that time, which was Make Way for Noddy, Noddy, which was Make Way for Noddy. During the days of the practice, she gave me sheets of paper and told me to read them. I did as she told. And during the final day of the role play, I was doing my part without any interruptions. But it stunned somebody. And that somebody was my parents. It stunned them and made them discuss this internally. How boldly she faced a huge group of audience and narrated the story fluently. And there, my public speaking journey started. When I was redoing my 3rd grade at school, I was wearing one of the greatest Indian leaders' costumes, late Madam Indira Gandhi. I was wearing a costume and it was a fancy dress competition, and I delivered a few lines from the extracts of Indira Gandhi's speeches. But again, it stunned somebody This time, that somebody was my English teacher. After seeing my performance, she ran to see my parents and she complimented. Is it Aishwarya who spoke? What a fantabulous delivery of a speech. A silent girl in the class. She has blown my mind with a bold, daring voice. Indeed, that compliment was a life-changing one. Fast forward to 2016, my college life began. And here, I'd like to thank a very important person because he has shared his idea on mentoring. And he was my fashion illustrator faculty, Mr. Murugesan. This idea on mentoring was so deep that it resonated with each and everything that happened in my life. Another person whom I would like to thank in my college is the student counselor, Ms. Flora. She was the one who rekindled my hidden talent of public speaking during my college days. She used to give me so many opportunities, be it even a small welcome address. She blindly gave those opportunities to me. Till now, the regional academic officer stays in touch with me and gives me opportunities, although I am an art student. And that's where my skill for MC started. Having accomplished the art of public speaking at my school and at my college, I rarely used to deliver speeches at a social gathering circle called the Hypnotic Circle. My dad was so keen on molding me as a public speaker. At Hypnotic Circle, we met a person, Mr. Mutera Ramanathan. And thanks to him, because he was the one who introduced Toastmasters to us. Again, let me go back to the year 2008. I went out with my parents to Presidency Club Ruby Hall at Egmore to witness one of our own club meetings. I was just 10 years old at that time, and still I delivered a speech. But it wasn't a prepared speech or a table topic speech. As days went by, studies took me over and I gave a huge break to public speaking. And I came back to Toastmasters in 2018 as a guest and enrolled myself after my college days in 2019. Here, I have met so many members who turned to best friends for life. At CTM, I have not only taken roles for the meetings, but also the ExCom roles too. My leadership journey started here as the SAA for the tenure Jan to June 2020 and the VPPR for the subsequent tenure. At CTM, I admire so many members and their unique way of mentoring their mentees. And here I would like to thank two mentors. Because of them, I am reaching great heights. My first mentor, Toastmaster Syed. He's been guiding me in terms of delivering speeches and taking notes to meetings. There's a quote said by Benjamin Franklin. Tell me, and I forget. Teach me, and I may remember. Involve me, and I learn. And that is exactly what my mentor does. He involves me. He shares his knowledge and carefully molds me, and at times cautions me so that I can avoid making any wrong decisions. Another mentor of mine is Toastmaster Nadila. She's been a great guide when it comes to leadership qualities, and she gives me roles for big events like the Officers Training Program, area level contest, division level contest, etc. And I also admire the mentoring from a senior members like Toastmaster Venu, Toastmaster Srikant Kuttikrishnan, DTM Neena John, to name a few. Whenever I'm delivering speeches, the feedback received from both the audience and by the mentors is tremendously encouraging and it motivates me to be here and be well known across Area C1 in District 120. And for this, I would like to thank each and everyone who gave me and still gave me a push to reach great heights, both my profession and here at Toastmasters too. A mentor is someone with whom you can develop a long-term relationship that is centered around building a mentee's growth and development. Whereas a coach is someone who focuses on specific strengths and weaknesses. The relationship of a coach and an athlete tends to be short-term and finite, whereas the relationship of a mentee and a mentor tends to be long-term and less structured. I'd like to conclude with a quote said by Steven Spielberg. The delicate balance of mentoring someone is not by creating them in your own image, but by giving them the opportunity to create themselves. Over to you, Tia Moody.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aishwarya. Very interesting speech, and I'm sure all the sculptors in your life should be really proud of having you as their mentee and also allowing them to shape your career as well as your public speaking skills. What a wonderful feeling literally it was to all your mentors. Well done, Aishwarya. Nice listening to you. The third speaker today is Toastmaster Rekha. You've heard our Toastmaster Rekha when distinguished Toastmaster Nina John in a speech, and she is the secretary of a club and a winning speaker. Why I say that is she has won a couple of contests in our club level, the ISC International Speech Contest as well as the PT area level, and now she's up to the division level. A true person known for her entrepreneurial skills and also very passionate of bringing up the hidden talent in most of the youngsters who join CTM. Toastmaster Rekha is being evaluated by our President, Toastmaster Ranju. I request our President, Toastmaster Ranju, to please read the objectives of the speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Ranju.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Srikanth. So today, my target speaker, Toastmaster Rekha, would be delivering her speech in the Path Presentation Mastery. And this is on project level 5 on the title, Inspire Your Audience. So here are the purpose or objectives of the speech. The first one is to practice writing and delivering a speech that inspires the audience. And second one is the speech delivery in such a way for the member to inspire the audience. So over to you. All the best, Toastmaster Rekha. And over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ranju. Toastmaster Rekha, inspire your audience. Inspire your audience, Toastmaster Rekha.
So before I start my speech title is What Next? So I thought it's important to know the title which resonates with the script. So that's what I thought. Like my time has not started, it was timer, so I'll start now. It was 1st January, beginning of a new year, and beginning of a new phase of a chirpy young girl. A mother was born with the birth of a baby boy. The newborn, lying beside the mother, was sucking his thumb, and the grandmother commented, "What a miracle! Never have I seen a newborn suck his thumb." He was the celebrated prince of the family. His every act was seen as an act of brilliance. My dear fellow Toastmasters and guests, you would have definitely witnessed a similar scene of celebrating every act of the child in most of the families as if no other child in the world does those activities. Months passed and the child was 1 year. Time for celebration. But the mother was concerned as the child never responded when called out to, never spoke a single meaningful word. The entire family consoled her that milestone for boys gets delayed and nothing to worry about it. But she did not want to wait any further and took the child to a pediatrician and was advised to visit clinical psychologist. They visited multiple doctors with no satisfactory diagnosis. Then they were advised to visit National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, at Bangalore. Mental health issue? For my son, This question to herself turned her world upside down. She was not sure of her son's future, her future. At NIMHANS, the child was diagnosed with mild traces of ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. She felt paralyzed. Her eyes were wet and throat choked. The doctor advised monthly visit, to admit the child in a play school and send him for speech therapy and occupational therapies. She researched and found that ADHD is a mental health disorder causing hyperactivity, trouble in paying attention, and difficulty in sitting in the same place for quite some time. She spent her sleepless nights wondering what to do. Then she thought, this is a test for my strength. Let me do whatever it takes to come out of it. When she thought, what next? She realized her challenges, her financial condition and time constraints. So she shifted her job to an MNC organization in Australian shift with double dipping. So her day started at 3:30 in the morning, office work, household work, therapy sessions, and her day ended at 10 in the night. During the day, the father dropped the child in the play school. Then, the child was admitted in kindergarten. But the parents had to handle complaints from the school that the child was running around the class and even ran down the corridor, disturbing other classes. Month after month, the therapies continued and the mother had her own roller coaster ride. She reassured herself, this is not the end, but just the bend. She never asked herself, why me? But she always asked, what next? How can I handle it? One fine day, when she was waiting for her child in the speech therapy, the child came running towards the mother, screaming, Subbu! The therapist came behind the child and said, I'm so happy to hear my name from him. He need not come for therapy sessions anymore as it is not required. He is perfect. She took some time to realize what she heard. Her tears of happiness washed away her agony. Similarly, one therapy after the other was stopped as it was no longer required. The child became normal with no traces of abnormality as we, the so-called normal people, call it. In her profession, she was promoted as manager. Mother and son grew together in their own ways. What next question kept her moving ahead. All this happened 16 years ago, and this boy is in his final year of schooling, leading a very normal life. Teacher's pet, best buddy of his friends, and the darling of the mother, who is delivering the speech in front of him. No doubt, it was the toughest period of my life. But turning back, I realized, if not that challenge, I would have not discovered myself. Life lessons are never realized at that moment of time. But today, I'm able to connect the dots. To quote the famous writer Maya Angelou's words, I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to reduce by it. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rekha. A very touching life incident, and as you have reminded us, in life, There's nothing called as an end, but it is just a bend. Tremendous willpower and the belief that everything has not come to stay, but it has come to pass. Thank you very much for that speech, very emotional and sentimental. And with this, we come to the end of prepared speeches. And as I have been sharing with you, let me share something very personal with you about this thing called as ego. It is this ego which literally, I mean, say most of us, I would say, it is the ego which dominates our life. And there is one small test that you can have right now and make sure whether ego is dominating you or it is the other way around. Or even before I could tell you what the test is all about, let me share a personal story with you. It was in the early 2010-11, almost 10 years back, a decade back. I had put on a lot of weight and I started learning a little bit of yoga to reduce my weight. I started having pain in my knee and the doctor told me the only way is to reduce weight, and I practiced yoga. I started losing weight. But what really happened was I was losing more weight than it usually needs to be lost. And there was something that was different in me, and people started noticing it. And they said, Srikant, are you sure that it is because of yoga? I said, yes, it is because of yoga and the diet that I'm following. That's why I'm losing weight. But this kept reminding me very often from all the people that I knew, and I came to close contact with my family, with my colleagues at office. Most of them were telling me, I find something different. It is not exactly because of your yoga practice. It could be something else. I said, my ego said, what could be something else? I know about myself. It has nothing to do with anything else. It is because of that. Finally, I started realizing I started losing weight in kilos. And as a casual visit, I went to my family doctor in Sundaram Medical Foundation. His name is Dr. Satyajit. And the moment I entered his room, he said, I find something different in you. What's wrong? I said, no, doctor, nothing is wrong with me. The next word he told me was, go do your thyroid test. Do your thyroid test and get back to me. The following day, I go to the doctor with the test in my hand, the results in my hand, and he said, Srikant, you losing weight is not because of your diet or yoga. You have hyperthyroidism. And what could have been treated much earlier had I not listened to my ego and listened to my friends and well-wishers, I could have started taking medicine. But by God's grace, the dosage was increased and I had to make a lot of lifestyle changes to bring this under control. And now I'm out of that medication. So this was this ego. You never know what this ego can do and harm you. Now, coming to the test that I have told you. See, I read a book by a very famous English author. I'm not sure about it. And he says that most of us go to sleep at the wrong time and wake up at the wrong time. A very interesting book. I'll share the name sometime later. In that he says, between 3 a.m. See, I want you to just suspend your disbelief system until I finish my speech. Just take it in. Between 3 a.m. to 6 a.m., every human being who goes to bed will get up a wake-up call from God. Sounds interesting, isn't it? And the minute or the second we get that call, we wake up, most of us, we wake up, look into the clock or the mobile phone and say, it is not the time for me to get up, and you go back to sleep. You go back to sleep. He goes on to say, the voice that keeps telling you to go back to sleep also gives you the reason why you need to go back to sleep when you're being woken up. It reminds you the previous day was very hectic. You had a lot of work to be completed. You had a headache. And the following day, even more work is there to be completed. You're going to be tired. You need to sleep for a couple of hours. And the ego puts you back into sleep. Has that not happened to you? If you pass this test, I can assure you, you have controlled your ego or to a certain level. And he reminds us what is the remedy for this. Is the moment you get this wake-up call, every person between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., the most productive time, he says, for a man is between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. If you can listen to that wake-up call and you get out of your bed, put your feet on the floor, and you still want to go to sleep with your feet on the floor. That's funny. It is this ego, my dear friends, which is literally ruining us from finding the higher purpose of this beautiful gift that has been given to us called as life. I want to share with you a few more ways that we can literally get rid of this and start identifying us with our higher self, and how we can literally live a life without pain, without anything lacking, without any kind of a problem, till you come to an end of this journey called as life. Having said that, the next session is going to be the interesting part. I really request all the guests who have joined this meeting to volunteer yourself to be one of the speakers in today's table topic session. It is very interesting. The topics are going to be given to you, very simple topics, and mostly it could be related. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I don't know really. It could be something to do with the theme. A topic is given, a simple topic. You could be called by the topic master and you need to speak. And believe me, when you start speaking, you realize how good speaker you are. And all these years, you are keeping the talent dormant in yourself. Volunteer yourself. And today's topic master is Toastmaster Srijit Unni. Now I request Srijit Unni to please conduct the table topic session. Back to you, Srijit.
Thank you, Shrikant, for the wonderful information about the mornings. As a person who wakes up at 4:30, I can relate to you a lot. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It's my pleasure to meet you all as the TT Master for the day. I'm lucky to be in this side of the, I'm not in the receiving end of today's topics. Toastmasters encourage us to challenge ourselves and develop our impromptu speaking skills by putting ourselves, by thinking effectively on our feet and by delivering unrehearsed speeches. Mark Twain once said that it would take him 3 months to prepare an impromptu speech and perfect it. This speaks a lot of volumes on the kind of demands that impromptu speaking puts on a person's listening, thinking, and organizing skills. This makes it a very integral part of the entire Toastmastering experience, and it's a wonderful thing to be a part of. The way that this session would proceed is that I would give you all a topic and I would give you a minute or two to think about it. I would select a person at random and it's your turn to, the stage is yours and you will have to give your best. As hard as things are already, I encourage you to use the word of the day more, incorporate it into your speeches too. The timer, minimum time you will have to speak is a minute, and the maximum you can speak is for 2.5 minutes. The timer would show the green at 1 minute, the amber at 1.5 minutes, and the red at 2 minutes. So let's go to our session. I'll just share my screen. Just let me know if it's visible. Is the screen visible?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So the theme of the day is let go of your ego. And the way we've observed things around us, ego is directly proportional to the age. The people above 30, forgive me if you are offended. So the first topic for today would be this. If you could be any age for a week, what age would it be and what would you do? The first person I would like to speak for today is, it would be, I would like to, just give me a second. I don't have the list here. Yes, can I have Ranju to pick the first topic for today? Toastmaster Ranju?
I'm attending Toastmasters Club. So if you're okay, take care of her.
Okay, I don't think Toastmaster Anju is available. Can Toastmaster Rohit take up the first topic for today?
Sure. Thank you, Table Topic Master Srijit. This has been a favorite topic of mine since I had my kids. And if I could be of any age for a week, I would be of an infant age of 1 to 3 years. Oh, what a joy it is. You do whatever you want and people just love you. Any mischief you do, it doesn't matter. You enjoy yourself and people enjoy watching you. Even if you, let's say, break something, if you damage something, if you, let's say, do some mischief or you hurt someone, no one minds. No one takes it on their ego. Why? Because the child doesn't have an ego of himself. He's just enjoying and playing. And that selfless thing gets reflected in the audience around him. So, like when I had my first kid, I was like amazed at how she's able to enjoy herself, doing nothing but just walking around the house, babbling, and it's a small act we all enjoy. How she can share love so easily, and how she gets hurt, and the next moment she will again start playing. Those are the values which we forget as adults, and hopefully as I learn more and more from my kids, I can invite some of them. Thank you. Back to you, Table to Work Master.
Thank you, Rohit, for your wonderful speech. It's a wonderful phase. I'm assuming here, I think it's a wonderful phase in everyone's life. Going forward, the next topic of mine would be the following. We Chennaites, we love to get very jingoistic about a city and we like to defend it tooth and nail for whoever who has a word or two to say about it. So I'd like to call upon guest Subiksha to talk about this, to defend Chennai's weather, assuming someone else is having a shot at Chennai's weather. What would your response be?
Sorry, can you explain it again once again?
Say if someone has a problem with Chennai's weather and they have a few comments to say about it in the wrong way, obviously. So what will your response be, and how will you defend being in Chennai?
So good evening, everyone. So as a Chennaiite, I feel that I've lived here for more than 22 years. So it's an amazing place to live. But as outsiders, people who come from other states might feel that few of us do not, how do I say, adjust or talk their language, or we don't usually learn their language. For example, North Indians coming to Chennai, and we don't usually try to communicate in their language. We'll normally tell them we only know Tamil and then just let go. So maybe it could look like that, but as Chennaites, I feel that we would definitely be welcoming to any other people who come from other states. Thank you.
Thank you, Subiksha. I would totally agree with you on that. We are a little bit rigid on the way we handle people coming from outside, but I know Chennai is a wonderful place to be in. So going on now, the next topic of mine would be, I would like to call upon guest Keshav Sundar to take upon this topic. You can speak about the image for 2 minutes. it's your call to interpret whatever is there on the image.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Also, what is the topic?
Your topic is on the screen. It's the image, and you it's your interpretation, and you can talk about it.
Sorry, Srijit, can't see anything, any image.
Oh, sorry. I'll just see if I'm not sharing the screen. Is the screen visible?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the image.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So ego is such thing which prevents us from moving forward in life. Maybe moving to a path of success, or maybe even trying to rescue yourself. Sometimes, if you have an ego, you might even lose an opportunity to save yourself. So ego is such an enemy that indirectly harms a person unknowingly. So and if the intensity is very high there. Yeah, so we have so this is what I might tell, and we all experienced this, what ego has done. I mean, what effect ego has on our lives. So ego can take many forms, and so we have to try to minimize ego as much as possible and try to convert that into something which is positive. Maybe get into a good zone. uh, Maybe it could be like anything which is positive and that helps, but it should not be negative as ego. And yeah, so this could help everyone of us. So this is the take on the topic. I'm sorry, I have only this much to tell. I would try next time if possible to be better at the topic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure so many people here would agree that the speech was very wonderful. I would like to pick up one point you said where ego could be something which is which could be useful too. So my next topic would be on that ego. I think ego has taken enough bashing for today. I think it demands a chance too. My next topic would be for Shrikant Kotikrishnan. Let's take a chance to defend ego. So ego is good is a topic.
Thank you. Thank you, Srijatoni. Well, if you're going to ask me what ego is good, let me remind you about a great saint who walked on this planet Earth in the later half of 18th century, a revered saint from Calcutta known as Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. This has nothing to do with religion. It is just a quote that I strongly believe in. And he was a person who was always in an ecstatic state of mind, a mind of always having the vision or in the higher consciousness. Always, almost, he would be in such state for months together. If you could read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and in that, this was the state that he was in, such an ecstatic state. And what he would say when he comes to this plane of earth, when he was a normal person, he would say, I am so happy in that state of ecstasy. I forget myself in that God consciousness, but I still carry a little bit of ego in me so that I can come down and share my experience to all the devotees around me, how to attain that state. And for him, it is called an ego as simple as having a liking towards food. So if you see in Hinduism, any liking or anything that we get attached to is really going to separate us from the higher consciousness. He used to say, I want to share this with the people. So I used to have the ego of having food. So that consciousness of food would bring me down to the normal plane of consciousness, and I would share with that. So at that level, for a person of such illumination, a person who has attained such state of mind, a little bit of ego for the welfare of mankind at a large is definitely good. Definitely good. Back to you, Srijatuni.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srikanth. I think ego is what makes humans humans. Going forward, my next topic would be for Nina John. This being Easter, I would like to try something different. I'll be sending three words to Nina John personally in her private chat, and she'll have to frame a story or try communicating those three words to the audience, and the audience have to like guess what those three words are. So let me first ping Nina John, and she'll be able to start off.
Yes, I am ready to be an egghead.
I hope, Nina John, did you get my message?
Yeah, I have not got the words, but okay. You said you were sending me. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. So this is the time when we're talking about gender and other things, and we no longer say that there are only two genders in this world. There was a posh expert who told me that there can be anything up to 46 genders. So I was like, okay, that's why they depict themselves with so many different colors. And those are the colors that come out whenever there is a storm and lots of liquid falls from the sky, and everyone is very, very ecstatic. So what do you think those particular words are? What do you think different colors that come out into the sky would be? Okay, somebody's got one of the words. And what do you think happens when the clouds are full of ecstasy and let the world be happy? And yes, rain is there. And what do you think your state of mind is when after a long parched summer, you have rain, thunder, rainbows? How do you feel? Joy, yes. Super. So thanks to you, Mr. Toastmaster Srijit. Rainbow, rain, and joy. CTM rocks. Thank you.
That was really fun, Nina John. I think we'll have a set of more difficult words next time.
Sure.
So yes.
CTM rocks, I told you.
These are the three words. So yes, my next topic would be for Abhirami. We as humans, we're not perfect, and we've always had situations and instances where we've lost control. I would like Abhirami to share one time when she let ego take charge of her driver's seat. I'm not sure if Abhirami is there. Can Sarath take the topic?
Yes, Toastmaster.
Thank you.
The time when my ego took charge of the driver's seat. One second. Yeah. Okay, so I should think of the time when my ego took charge of the driver's seat. So it's very difficult to think as at the moment. Usually when ego took charge of the driver's seat, the main problem is we don't know that ego took charge of the driver's seat, and we believe that no, the other person is with the ego, and we are not having that ego. And the same situation happened to me. And what I can suggest with this topic is that when next time when we are engaging in some behavior where our ego took charge of our driver's seat, let's first discover, let's first understand that ego is taking charge. Once if we understand, then we'll be in a position to remove that ego from our own life, from our own behavior, and by that way I think we can drive our own vehicle instead of letting the ego drives the vehicle. So thank you so much for giving me this topic, Toastmasters Sridhar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sadat, for your wonderful speech. My next topic would be there are a few relationships which transcend egoism. So friendships are one of those. I would like guest Vijay Aditya to take up this topic. What are the 3 things you look for in a friend?
The 3 things I would personally look for. It should be easy for me to communicate with them. I should be looking forward to hang out with them. They should have a common interest with me, and should be easy to speak with. Also, it should be a person that I can share my personal feelings with and talk about the things we like. That's it.
Thank you, Vijay.
That's it.
Yeah, thank you. I would like another guest to take up the next topic. Just give me a second. Can I have guest Ashwini OR to take up this topic? It's one for the foodies. Ashwini, are you there? Okay, I think I'm not. I don't think Ashwini is there. I think can Hari take up this topic, please?
Hello.
Hello, am I audible?
Hari, are you there?
Yeah, I am there. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you now. Yeah.
If you are not meant to have next snacks, why is there a light in the fridge? I think so. First, to identify that it's a fridge, we should have a light inside it. Once you get to blow it, you might know, yeah, it's a fridge. And second, it's not about just snacks. We may need some other very important things. If someone hurts and we need ice cubes, we need light to find out that it has. Maybe for that reason, we have light in the fridge. And then
Hi, this is Ashwini here. I had some problem now. Can I join in and talk right now?
Yes, Ashwini. I think I can take this topic too. Yeah, I think we can start off. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Toastmasters Club Chennai. So I'm very glad to be a part of this club. So the topic given to me is here right now is, if you're not meant to have midnight snacks, why is there a light in the fridge? I'm sure it's such a, it's a humorous topic. So I would like to remind, I would like to say that no, this applies for every husband in the family. That whenever they open the fridge and they do not find something to eat, it just makes them clear that you will have the same thing every day in your life. So even in your life, when you open the when you switch on the light, it's like you're gonna find the same wife every day in every part of your life. So, mm, uh, so you're not going to find food even if you switch on the light. Uh, I'm not sure whether I communicated what I meant in my mind right now. Maybe we'll try it again next time.
Thank you, Ashwini.
Thank you.
Really nice to have you here. The next topic would be for Abhilash. This thing has a line, the story. So I would like Abhilash to continue it. I would like you to keep it not very dark. I mean, the first line is pretty dark, but don't make the story too dark.
All right. Good evening. So you want me to start with this line, or can I just include
That's
it
up to you, but this is how the story starts.
All right. So good evening, my dear fellow Toastmasters and guests. So icy fingers gripped my arm in the darkness. So it was one bright Sunday afternoon. What was happening was, let me say what, okay. So it was one bright Sunday afternoon. So we were meeting at an underground venue in Toastmasters. So what happened at that time was we were all enjoying, it was a hybrid meeting going on, when suddenly there was a power cut. No one could see what was happening. No one could see what was doing. And the time was also almost exactly, 5:22. What is so special about this time, you ask me? Go to any place, go to any Toastmasters club. This is the time, when usually in a meeting, 2-hour meeting, the time for table topics. And so suddenly when the power got cut, I could feel a sudden icy hand grip my hand like this. I was in fear. What happened then? The lights came back on, and it was the timer telling me, "Arey, your time is up." Since I couldn't show the green card, I was gripping your hand to pull you back and allow the next speaker to take stage. That is what happened today. Over to you, Toastmaster Shiju.
Thank you, Abhilash. I'm pretty sure it was me who was pulling your hand for snacks. So going forward, the last topic for today, it's a pretty simple topic. I would like to have guest Sangha take it if she's available, he or she. I'm not sure. What stands between you and happiness? That's the last topic for today. Can you please take the topic? I'm not sure if they're available. Can evaluator 1, Satya, can you please take the topic?
Yeah, am I visible? Am I visible?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, what stands between you and happiness? All right. One of my friends had gone through bypass surgery 3 months back, and he was narrating how he felt during the tough time. There were a group of doctors who were discussing about what is going to happen inside and how difficult it is going to be, because it was like 95% struck, and it wasn't that easy. So they were taking decisions, and he was hearing all those conversations, and all of a sudden he felt, why life is so tough against me. And when he was being pushed towards the surgery room, he witnessed the strange wordings on the doors. When you were pushing inside, one of the doors read strictly one way. It read strictly one way. And that moment he realized, what is stopping me from being happy in this world? Am I going to come out of this room because it says strictly one way? Because all the surgery rooms, when you enter, there is one door where you get in and one door when you come out, right? So that's the reason they write it as, but he viewed it in a completely different aspect. But all went well. The moment when he opened his eyes, he came into the almost a second life. That's what he says. And that moment he says that, there is nothing that stops me from being happy. It is just a realization that you must have all the time, because everybody's life has an ups and downs. But what is stopping you from being happy? So he started smiling all the time. Whenever he greets someone, he'll be happy. Whenever he narrates some incidents, he will be happy. Whenever he says anything from any incident of his life, any facet of his life, he always has this smile on his face. When people ask him, he says nothing stops him being happy. So it's all that realization inside you. The moment you realize that there is nothing that is going to be stopping you from happy, you will be happy always. So it's just that internal realization, the internalization of happiness is what everyone forgets. So have that moment in you all the time. Realize that you can be happy all the time and you will be happy. Back to you, table topic master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Satya. It was very insightful. I would like to conclude the table topic session with one last speaker. He had volunteered for it. It will be Puneet. Can you please take up the topic? If you could relive yesterday, what would have you done differently? Can you please, did you get my topic?
Repeat once again.
Yes, I'll just share my screen. Just a second.
No, it's okay. That's okay. Not an issue. If you could relive.
If you could relive yesterday, what would have you done differently?
Yesterday ended last night. Let's face it. I cannot do anything about it. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for this beautiful topic. Let's face the reality. I can't go and change yesterday. Yesterday is a history. The future is a mystery. The best we have is that of today. Hence, we call it present. So when I look at this topic, of course, there's a cricket fan within me which says that to go and watch the World Cup. And yesterday, I mean, not relating it to the previous day. Yesterday could be all the previous years as well. So being a cricket fan, that's one thing which often is that being there at 2011 World Cup, seeing that glorious moment. But then those days are gone. There's no point wondering about those great days which were at the past. Too often today I was attending one of my university club's meeting where the theme was 90s. And they were all talking about how 90s was the most glorious thing, 90s was the so best. And to which I realized, oh my God, is it so? If I asked the same question to my father, he would have a different opinion. He would say 70s were the best of his time. So fellow Toastmasters, I would not go out and change anything at the past. After all, yesterday is a history. It's also a past, so we can't do anything about it. Future is a mystery, so we don't know anything about it. The best gift we have is that of today. So let's make the maximum out of it. Now, how do we do that? That's where John Maxwell says this. How we spend our day is how we spend our life. Too often we invest our time in so many other things that it drains us down. I'm sure at this point of time, all of us, there are some people who wouldn't invest in themselves to join this beautiful club called Toastmasters. But then we are here at this moment, committing ourselves to growth and development. So fellow Toastmasters, let's not live in our past. People who are obnoxious about past, people who are glorious about their past, they can't do anything in future. So there's no point changing your past and there's no point reliving it because the best gift we have is that of today. Back to you, table topic master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Puneet. Thank you all for the wonderful session. The guests were amazing today. So with this, we come to the end of the table topic session, and I would like to hand the control back to Toastmaster Srikanth.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pages. Very thought-provoking topics, and I still keep wondering why there is a light inside the fridge. I'm not quite sure. I mean, a very interesting topic that is. Maybe I should find out from my wife why they have a light inside the fridge. Having said that, can I have the attention of our timer today? Timer, could you please read out the names of qualified, prepared speakers and the table topic speakers so that marking the ballots would be easy for all those who are present here for today's meeting. Timer?
Sure, TMOD. And as far as the prepared speeches are concerned, all the speakers are qualified for voting. And for the TT speaker, Toastmaster Rohit, guest Subiksa, guest Kesav Sundar, Toastmaster Srikanth Kutikrishnan, and DTM Nina John, Toastmaster Sarath, and Toastmaster Abhilash, Toastmaster Satya, and Toastmaster Puneet. These are the qualified TT speakers.
Thank you, Toastmaster Venu. And now you can make a decision who you would like to be the best prepared speech speaker and the TT speaker. And having said that, how to get an upper hand over this ego, it is a little difficult initially to get rid of this ego, but it is quite easy to tame your ego. The great saints and seers of India have always reminded us it would require a lifetime for you to get your mind and your ego under control and also to get rid of them. But you can definitely tame your ego. See, the first and foremost thing that I would like to share with you is this is a little bit of a philosophical, but I wanted to give it a thought. See, most of us identify ourselves with our body, with our possession, with the wealth that we have, and all the materials that we accumulate in this lifetime, and we identify ourselves with that. That is the reason if somebody is going to ask you who you are, you always come up with a materialistic answer. Either it is your name or the profession you do or the lineage that you come from or whatever that you have to say about you. But my dear friend, none of this is what you are. None of this is what you are, because if you have a chance to read the synopsis of the major religions or the scriptures of this world, each and every one of them have only one thing to say in common. They say every human being is eternal by nature, which means we are not what we identify ourselves. We are way beyond that. And what stops you from identifying this is your ego. Because this ego is something that wants to be in the comfort of this material world. It is this ego which tries to dominate you because it doesn't like anything to change from its comfort and puts you back in the comfort zone, giving you all kinds of excuses to be there. Anything that you want to do, the first answer is, why do you have to do that? People have done, you have failed. People have done, and how are you going to succeed? So once you start identifying with something which is changing in this world, you are always in trouble for the rest of your life, as far as the ego is concerned. But if you identify yourself as something above that, and you're just witnessing what is happening in this world as a witness, as I've told you, there is nothing which can bother you. There is no pain. There is nothing that you're going to lose, provided you be a witness of anything that is happening to you. Let me share a small, interesting fact about this. And this higher identification is what many call by different names. Some call it God, some call it as higher consciousness. Whatever it is, the truth of the matter is, you are that which is witnessing. And if you start identifying by the things happening outside of you, you are in for trouble. Full stop. Nothing more than that, nothing less than that. Can you tell me the reason the universe, the world, the globe, or whatever it is, weighing trillions and trillions of tons, is just floating in the space in perfect harmony? It is spinning around, it is going around the sun, millions and millions of stars in perfect harmony. Everything in this creation seems to be perfect. And what holds all this up is the one word called as energy. Everything you see, there is nothing wrong, or there is nothing which is not in sync with what is happening around you. Everything is perfect. And that energy which keeps this globe or this universe floating, it is the same energy that is flowing through you. And when I say it is flowing through you, it is not just for me and you, for the entire universe, which means that you and me are connected in the higher consciousness. All of us are connected in this world. When you identify this, you start thinking of your self-satisfaction or self-centeredness, and you start thinking of the higher goodness of all that is around you. And believe me, if any other person is hurt or if any other person is wounded, that is going to hurt the entire consciousness of this entire world. But it is your ego which says, he's hurt, I'm safe. Let me get back to where I am. Stop thinking in these lines. It might take a few days or a few months for you to really grab what I'm talking about, but it is worth giving a try. I have done that, and I feel tremendous sense of happiness and joy when I identify myself with everybody around.
Sorry to interrupt, Shrikant sir. We are running a bit behind time. Could we proceed to the evaluation?
Thank you very much. I'm sorry I've taken a little more time because since you have higher philosophical things that I wanted to share with you, this is what I would like to share with you. And now that we are going to the third part, 5:35, third part of today's meeting, and I request our general evaluator, Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana, to please conduct the general evaluation. Thank you very much. Back to you, Lakshmi Narayana.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. We are now into the evaluation part of this whole meeting. The first part of this evaluation would be, part of this meeting session would be to invite evaluators who are going to evaluate these prepared speeches, the pre-prepared speeches we had. To evaluate our DTM Nina John's speech, we have the first evaluator. He is a very senior Toastmaster who has been with Toastmaster for more than 7 years and is part of DXC Chennai Toastmaster Club. Let me invite Satya Jayaraman to evaluate DTM Nina John's speech. Over to you, Satya Jayaraman.
Dear General Evaluator and Toastmasters, mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. Now, let me share things that I love the most. 3 quality aspects of mentoring from distinguished Toastmaster Nina John's speech. Very first one is how she helped in identifying the goals for Toastmaster Rekha. When Toastmaster Rekha wasn't so confident about her writing skills and she felt that she cannot do the secretary role to perfection, that's where she jumped in and said, this is the role to learn. Go ahead and do it. And that doesn't happen easily because over a period of time, you'll have to give them the confidence in building the relationship. And also you'll have to listen carefully. And those are the aspects which are never told in her speech, but that's what I understood. That's just not easy. So she really helped in framing the goals for Toastmaster Rekha. Second, how she opened the doors of continuous improvement. It's not about doing the role only once. Not many mentors realize this, not many mentees go ahead and pick it up as well, but that's where she distinguished herself from being a mentor, isn't it? When you do a role time and again, what happens is you knock the world of creativity. You become so creative, and no wonder why she went on and flared well in her journey. And what happened later is history. So you should always give them a continuous push and a continuous improvement. You should push them and do the role over and again. There is a reason for it. You get into the world of creativity. And the third, the most brilliant thing in Toastmasters, if you ask me, is challenging the people. When you challenge them, you will make them realize something, the true potential that they had, but they never used it. The immense benefit of working with a mentor is an opportunity to advance little used talents. And no wonder she went and challenged Toastmaster Rekha to go ahead and contest, and she getting a great feel of elation after sailing through 2 levels of contest. Wow, challenging works brilliantly, but you should know when to challenge people, and that's the art of mentoring. All these 3 aspects of mentoring stood out superbly in her speech. But when you always listen to a speech, there is always few things that will keep resonating in your mind. For me, one such line would be, when you are ready, teacher appears. It's not a simple statement, my dear friends. Let me tell you, when you read it time and again, you will understand how big meaning it has. Wow. Now, distinguished Toastmaster Nina John, I always love to hear you not just your speeches, hear you all the time. So as a person, if I look at your speech, I always wanted this one thing. I have this little expectation of knowing what are the challenges, what are the difficult situations that you have faced in the art of mentoring. Not every mentee is very nice like Toastmaster Rekha. There are mentees, someone like Toastmaster Satya and few others who incorporate me. So they will always thrive on you. They will always push for you to do something. You have your own world of priorities. You have your own world of personal things. But have you faced any challenges or any difficult times during the phase of mentoring is something that I would always love to listen. But keeping that aside, on all, you have displayed all the three quality aspects of mentoring in your speech, how you helped in identifying inner goal, how you opened the doors of creativity, how you challenged her and pushed her in the contest. If you can just include this challenging things in your speech, it will be a great speech. But all in all, this less than 7 minute speech is enough for people to understand why you are named as Nina. It's always Ni first and Na second. General evaluator.
Thank you, Satya Jaram. It was an excellent evaluation. Okay, from today's speech, I thought I learned the art of mentoring from Nina ma'am, but I also learned the art of evaluation from you.
Thank you.
It was too good to listen from you, and I learned a lot from you. And when you mentioned about asked about what are the good, how do you handle not so happy path mentees on mentees, troublesome mentees. I remember yesterday's speech by Toastmaster Venu, who explained one of his troubles there. Maybe we should consult with him to know more about such things. But overall, I really appreciate you for coming up and giving evaluation. I learned a lot from you. Thank you. And our next evaluator for the next evaluator is alumni of BITS Pilani who currently work in mental graphics, who likes badminton as well. She's Vratika, and Vratika, Toastmaster Vratika is going to evaluate Toastmaster Aishwarya's speech. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Cultures in my life. Good evening, everyone. Toastmaster Aishwarya, let me start by commending you for choosing an apt title for your speech. It is very important. Good job with that. Having said that, I will break down my evaluation in three parts, the three S: strengths, suggestions, and the summary. Let me start with the strengths. A great start. The quote that you stated in the beginning correctly sums up the mentor-mentee relationship or the teacher-student relationship inside Toastmasters and outside as well. Good job with that. Second, your gestures were perfectly synced with your speech. You even came closer to the camera with a perfect eye contact to emphasize the words. And your vocal variety changed accordingly. That requires a lot of practice. Kudos to that. There was one quote that you stole the thunder with, and I really liked that. Let me state it. Tell me, I forget. Teach me, I remember. Involve me, I learn. I have modified it a bit from the perspective of evaluations. Tell me what went well, I feel good. Tell me what to improve, I feel great. Tell me how to improve, I feel ecstatic. So with this, let me move on to the suggestions. You started with sharing your past experiences being a mentee, and then you moved on to sharing your experience of being a mentee inside Toastmasters and how your mentors helped you. In my opinion, you could have elucidated how the mentor-mentee relationship works in Toastmasters and why it is important. This would have been beneficial for our guests as well. And then probably you could have moved on to sharing your experiences being a mentee from the past and from Toastmasters as well. So to summarize, great start, good uses of perfectly placed quotes in the speech, perfectly synced gestures and eye contact. Only suggestion being that you could have restructured your speech in such a way that it could have been better aligned with the project objectives. In the end, I would like to end with a quote suggested by Toastmaster Puneet. It goes like, Toastmaster is a place where leaders are made. And you, Toastmaster Aishwarya, are one such leader in the making. With this, over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Radhika. It was an excellent evaluation. I really appreciate that. The last evaluator to evaluate Toastmaster Rekha's speech, because we had a mentor speaking about a mentee. Now mentee has given her a speech, and we have our current president who is working in Asian Paints in manufacturing, who loves traveling a lot. I welcome Toastmaster Ranju to evaluate Toastmaster Rekha's speech. Over to you, Ranju. Ranju, are you there?
Sorry, I was not audible. A very warm good evening, General Evaluator, my target speaker, Toastmaster Rekha, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Now, who here is not going to ask the question, what next, when you face the next challenge in your life? It was an inspirational, motivational, and exceptionally delivered speech. I love the soul in the whole story. Now, it could not get any more personal when the whole speech is about the speaker and it helps connect the entire speech in a much deeper level to the audience. So kudos to you on that, dear Toastmaster Rekha. The second thing which I really loved about the speech is it was like a suspense movie, which is starting with a character, a child being born in the beginning, followed by the supporting characters, a mother who's really looking after the child and going through various ups and downs in their lives, and followed by the psychologist who comes in between. And finally, the child turning victorious and emerging out with flying colors with a bang-on conclusion, saying the entire story was about the speaker. Now, what best way to deliver the message, what next, when you face challenges in your life? So this is the one thing which I really loved. It emphasized the message, what next, throughout the speech, which is really the way to connect with the audience and make sure the message is passed on to the entire audience. So kudos to you on that too. And the third one is that the excellent use of gestures and followed by the adequate amount of pauses. So I have observed that the gestures and pauses were in such a way that the messages were really conveyed. For instance, when you had a really sad moment, when there was a finding of ADHD syndrome, which was being diagnosed, you ensured that there was a pause, there was a long pause in there. So that really ensured and made the audience get in touch and connect with the whole story. So that was a really great part on that too. Now, along with all the 3 points, which were really great about the speech, any great speech could be even taken to next level with some minor ingredients. And I would like to suggest 2 minor suggestions from my end. The first one is that the conclusion of the speech was really good as of now. It was about that the entire story, the child who were having challenges in their lives, and the child was the speaker. Now, what best way to conclude? But I would have really loved it if you connected that conclusion with a message to the audience. For instance, you could have told, after revealing to the audience that this child is the person who is the speaker standing in front of you and delivering the speech, you could have asked the audience, ladies and gentlemen, what will you do when you face the next challenge in your life? Will you back out, or will you ask yourself the question, what next? Now, that was an ingredient which could have really conveyed the entire message to the audience. And one more thing, I would have really loved it if your camera positioning is at a wider level, which could really amplify your gestures. Now, in all, I really loved the speech. It was a motivational, inspirational, and really emphasized the entire message in your story. And with these minor improvements, I'm sure you will take your speech to the next level. Thank you, and over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ranju, for an excellent evaluation. I consider the last points of suggestions is very nice. And then now going to less time. Let us move on to the tag reports. So I will invite Toastmaster or timer Toastmaster Vinod to present this report.
Good evening once again, and thank you, Gentle Evaluator. My timer reports today is the surgeon at term took around 2 minutes 10 seconds. Presiding officer Toastmaster Ranjit took 2 minutes 35 seconds. The Toastmaster took 1 minute 53 seconds, and EDM Master took 1 minute 44 seconds, and TMOD overall took around 11 minutes. And the first speaker, Toastmaster, DTM Nina John took 7 minutes 4 seconds, and second speaker Aishwarya took 7 minutes 26 seconds. Third speaker Toastmaster Rekha took 6 minutes 41 seconds. As far as the TT speaker is concerned, Toastmaster Rohit took 1 minute 40 seconds. Guest Subiksa took 1 minute. Guest Kesav took 1 minute 54 seconds. Toastmaster Srikanth Kutikishan took 2 minutes 12 seconds. GTM Nina took 1 minute 27 seconds. Tarak took 1 minute 28 seconds. Guest Vijay Aditya took 39 seconds. Guest Hari took 35 seconds. Guest Ashwini took 56 seconds. Toastmaster Abhilash took 1 minute 34 seconds. Toastmaster Satya took 2 minutes 10 seconds. And Toastmaster Punit took 1 minute 58 seconds. The evaluator Toastmaster Satya took 3 minutes 20 seconds. Toastmaster Ratika took 2 minutes 49 seconds. Toastmaster Ranjit took 3 minutes 29 seconds. That's my report. Over to you, general evaluator.
Thank you, Timer Toastmaster Venu. Now I'll request our accountant Toastmaster Tiraj to give his report.
Okay, thank you, general evaluator. Geeta, Toastmaster Geeta, Sergeant Arms, 1 pass, 1 show. Toastmaster Ranju in president speech and in evaluations, so twice, once, but once, and twice. Toastmaster Srikanth Kudikrishna, TMOD speech, so twice, and twice, but twice. Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana in general evaluations, and 1 times, have more than 3 times, so 3 times. Timer Venu, flawless. Grammarian, flawless. Court master in flawless. In table topic, and 1, so 1, but 1. EDM master, so 3 times. In table topic, 1 time, so 1 time. In DTM Ninajan, so 1 time, 1 time. In table topic, flawless. In evaluated Toastmaster Satya Jayaraman, but 1 time, so 1 time. In table topic, flawless. Toastmaster Aishwarya, but 1 time and 2 times. Evaluated Toastmaster Vritika, and 1 time, so 1 time. Speaker Toastmaster Rekha, but 2 times, pass 1 time. Table topic Sijit, more than 3 times, so 1 time. In table topic guest Subiksha, so 2 times, but 1 times, 2 times. Guest Keshav, so 2 times, 2 times, but 1 time. Toastmaster Sarath, and 2 times. Guest Vijay, and 1 times. Guest Ashwini, so 2 times, 1 time. 1 time, 1 time. Toastmaster Punit, but 1 time, so 1 time. Thank you. Over to you, general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tiraj. Now I invite grammarian Toastmaster Tarun to give his report.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana. The number of persons who have used the word of the day are Toastmaster Abhilash 1 time, Toastmaster Rekha 1 time, Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana 1 time, Toastmaster Chirag 2 times, Toastmaster Nagendra Bharati 1 time. Some of them have used in this week time, in this week. And I felt that we learned many quotes in this meet. I have noted down more than 5 to 6 quotes, but due to time restrictions, I'm going to limit it to 2, which inspired me the most. The first one is, if I can be changed by what happens to me. This is said by Toastmaster Rekha. And the second quote is, tell me, I forget, teach me, and remember, I may remember, and involve me, and I learn. This was told by Toastmaster Aishwarya. Some words which I feel these are good usage in this meet are life dormant, manifest, winning speaker, solopreneur, cherry young girl, jingoistic, um, resonation, resonating. Thank you, General Evaluator. Now over to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tarun, for an excellent report. And I appreciate you once again for taking up this role for the first time. Okay, now it's time for my report as a general evaluator, and I'm just going to list out my observation from the beginning and some of the pros and some of the sessions I'm going to make. So the meeting started on time. Kudos to the team. We were all on time and it started on time, and everything went on well until it got delayed right now. So the word of the day, I saw that it's not been used much except for this WhatsApp, and so since it's though it's been practiced at some point of time. So one thing I wanted to mention is that there were some kind of change. I mean, the plus points of what I want to mention is about the timer role for. There was a smooth transition between Toastmaster Venu and Toastmaster Abhilash, which most people didn't observe it, but it was very nice that he took over at the right time and then went the control back to Toastmaster Venu. Kudos to Abhilash for that, without interrupting the meeting. And one thing, the good point I noted with the timer card is that I've seen the first time, like where it's mentioned that the timer, it's about this time limit has exceeded. We will keep mentioning that in the timer card, which we were not practicing it before, and it is there right now. I really appreciate that. And coming to the table topic session, it was an excellent session. Though we had more than 10 plus people, it was at that point in time, it was completely on time by 5 minutes, 5 o'clock, 30 minutes past 5 o'clock. So it was an excellent session. And everything went on well, including the evaluation and the tag report. So just for sessions point, what I noticed so far is that there are the agenda had some title mistakes. I think what Toastmaster Rekha has changed the title. So I would appreciate like if we properly follow the exact title on the agenda so that we don't confuse the audience and the guests who read through the agenda. And the next one, very important thing I wanted to mention is about I know we are concerned about the timings on speeches. So we need to maintain the timing. The respective speakers should maintain the timings here, where they are just follow the timer cards and ensure that we end up the speeches as soon as we see the red card. And the very important part is that we talk about taboo topics here. And as part of that, I suggest, I recommend people not to get to the religion part. I know there is a thin layer between spiritualism and religion, but I suggest not to get too much into spirituality, which eventually gets you to the religious speech. I know that Toastmaster, especially Chennai Toastmasters Club, has this a very healthy meeting of not involving any kind of religious speech here. So just suggesting people not to. I know in the prepared speeches, the mentors will evaluate, but for table topics, we need to be a little bit careful and not use any kind of religious topics while giving table speeches. And other than that, I had two more feedbacks. Like there were noises from some speakers. I think I request it could be anyone from the general speakers or the guest. So I know the host is taking his effort to go and mute people, but I request the speakers to go and mute themselves when they are not delivering any speech.
Actually, sir, apologies. No, sorry, it's not your mistake. We're running a bit behind time, so
yeah,
we'll move on.
Okay. Okay, this is the key points I've mentioned here. So with that, I wind up my general evaluative report and handing over control back to Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Satyanarayana. Thank you very much. It's been an honor to be the host for today's meeting. And I would like to remind you the word ego literally stands for edging God out. I wish you all the very best in taming your ego. And I hand over the control back to Toastmaster Ranju. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srikanth, for that wonderful meeting and a lot of messages in the meeting as well. So with this, can we start the polls for the meeting? Can the Abhilash confirm this?
The polls are going on, Ranju.
Yeah. Thank you, Toastmaster Geeta. Now, could we have some guest introductions, starting with guest Ashwini? Are you available? Yeah, guest Ashwini doesn't seem available. So can we move to the other guest Keshav?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So could you tell us something about today's meeting, or any feedback or any point? And how did you come to know about CTM?
Yeah. Okay. So I got to know about Chennai Toastmasters from Facebook poster, and so I am from Bangalore. To give my introduction, so from TCS by 3 Toastmasters, and this is the first time I have attended this Toastmasters. But previously I was at Chennai, so that's why I thought let me also try to attend the club online, and I mean try to learn a lot more, as well as it's a weekend. So
yeah.
And
So how did
thanks
you
for
like the
providing
meeting?
an opportunity. It was really good. Thanks. Thank you. I would try to attend it the coming weekend as well. Thank you.
Thank you. We would like to have you again, guest Keshav. Can we move on to the next guest? Guest Subiksha, are you available?
Good evening, everyone. So my name is Subiksha, and I'm a HR student and also a yoga practitioner. So I got to know about Toastmaster Club through Aishwarya, who just spoke. So I have the fear of speaking in front of people, so I thought this would help me to overcome. And today's meeting was very amazing. I had a great experience. I hope to attend the further meetings as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Looking
for the
forward.
experience.
Thank you. Looking forward to have you again, guest. Can we have guest Vijay next? Vijay?
My name is Vijay Aditya. I'm a student studying in MIAC. I'm an architectural student. I came to know about Toastmaster on the internet when I was searching on Facebook. It just popped up. So I'm also interested in improving my communication skills. So I thought I'll just check it out and see what's in.
Thank you.
So
yeah, please.
Was good, and I'm also looking forward for the next weekend.
Great to have you with us. Can we have guest Sangli next, if you're available? Yeah, okay. So guest Sangli is not available, it seems. So we will move on to our next round, which is so today we have two first-time role players, which is Toastmaster Tarun as grammarian. I would like all of you to give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Tarun and Toastmaster Srijit as the table topic master for the first time. Both of them did a fantastic job. And with this, it's time to announce the much awaited results for today. So I would like all of you to unmute yourself and give a big round of applause to the winners for today. So starting with the timer, counter, and grammarian roles, Toastmaster Venu is the winner, who is the best timer in the tag role play. Congrats to you, sir. So it's a pleasure, like when a much senior Toastmaster like Toastmaster Venusar comes and shows us what is the way a particular role can be done. Even so that really inspires many of us to take up the role and does it perfectly with the, even though it's a timer role. So that is one inspiration which I felt in today's meeting. Next is our quote master or idiom master. So our best quote master, idiom master goes to Toastmaster Abhilash. Toastmaster Abhilash, congratulations, you are the winner for that. And next one is our best evaluation. Best evaluation goes to Toastmaster Satya. And our best TTV speaker goes to Toastmaster Satya again. Congratulations. And our best speaker for today, our best prepared speaker for today is none other than Toastmaster Rekha. A big round of applause to like the winners for today's meeting. And with this, I would like to conclude today's meeting. Now, before I do that, I would like to announce a special milestone achievement for today, which is Toastmaster Aishwarya for completing her level with today's speech. A big round of applause to Toastmaster Aishwarya as well. And one final announcement before we adjourn the meeting. So we are having our elections coming up for the next XCOM, which is on April 25th. So we would be giving the further announcements in the coming days. So this is just an announcement giving the information to the club. So it was a great meeting today and I really enjoyed being a part of it. I look forward to meeting with all of you on meeting number 772 next Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. And with this, I adjourn today's meeting. And now let's go into an informal meeting and let's discuss if there are any other points.